So I heard you wanted to make some Halo armor. Let's get started. My name is 052, and for the past 3 years, I spent a lot of time making the iconic Spartan armor from the Halo games. There's something about that sci-fi aesthetic, the armored defender of humanity, that keeps pulling me back again and again. I've spent hours studying the form, analyzing different components, styles, and samples, all across all the Halo media that I could possibly get my gloves on. You could say I know a thing or two about Mjolnir. But for as long as I've made armor, people have asked me one question more frequently than any other. How do you do it? How do you make Halo armor? Well, fear not, my little lieblings. The time has come. I am going to show you. However, I'm not aiming for this to be a normal tutorial. There are quite literally dozens of other cosplay and 3D printing tutorials, all of which can take you through the steps efficiently and quickly. They're all brilliant in their own right, but I've found that sometimes they can be a little bit hard to swallow. Our approach is going to be collaborative. I can tell you the process from start to finish, but if you get bored halfway through, then the whole thing is a wash. Instead, we're going to do this in chunks. Each week, on Friday, I'll be uploading the next part of this tutorial with a realistic goal of something that you can do over the next 7 days. But 052, how are you going to make sure that it's a realistic time frame? Well, silly voices, I'm going to be making a suit alongside you. I'll be following the exact same steps, running into the exact same problems, within the exact same time frame. Every success, solution, and failure will be real, and I aim to help you guys stumble across issues that I couldn't even anticipate. So get excited, because it doesn't matter at what point you find this tutorial, you'll still be able to make your armor alongside me week by week until you have a finished suit that even the chief himself would be proud of. A bonus of this series is what I'm calling the Bob Ross method. I don't know, I'll come up with a better name. For those of you guys brave enough to be following this tutorial in real time, each week I'd like to give you a chance to showcase your work. In the captions below, there's a link to the 405th Forum, an online group of the most talented Halo cosplayers I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. Along with a truly massive amount of resources and guides to help you, I also have a forum post specifically for you to ask questions and post your progress. Starting the tutorial a bit late? Don't worry, any progress is progress, and I'm happy to add anyone following along to the next episode. Still with me? Good. Let's get started. A large part of this tutorial is going to be focused around 3D printing, which is the process of melting plastic along a path layer by layer until it results in a three-dimensional object. Don't worry, I know that sounds intense, but it's actually a really simple machine. You download an STL file, which holds the data for a digital 3D object. You put that data into a program called a slicer, which turns the STL into a language that a 3D printer can read. The 3D printer takes this, and then using some filament, turns that language into a real-life object. I'm explaining the individual parts of the process to answer some of the whys that might come up soon, but in reality, 3D printing isn't too challenging as long as you're willing to problem solve. You'll need to get comfortable with some basic tools and troubleshooting, but hey, I graduated with a theater major. If I can do it, I know you can do it. But 052, what kind of printer should I buy? I mean, I don't know anything about 3D printing.
Printer!
The 3D printer that you choose is going to be your workhorse for a lot of this project. And good news, there are a ton of options. Recently, there's been an explosion in printer improvements, which is ultimately good for us, but can also make picking out the right printer for you a bit more challenging. I've got a few recommendations that have worked for me, but I encourage you to read reviews and ask around. Usually, there's a pretty good consensus across the board on what a good starter printer is, but if you're up for a challenge, I've found that being ambitious can ultimately pay off. My first printer was this Creality CR10S. I got it in 2019, upgraded the heck out of it, and I have run it almost day and night for the past 4 years. Yes, I know he's not running right now, but that's because I'm about to start building with you. It has a 300 by 300 by 400 millimeter build volume, which is notably big enough for most helmets and armor pieces to be printed in one go. Important note, this is not necessarily better. Printing larger things takes more filament and more investment. No matter what, there will almost always be something that you can't fit on your printer in one piece. I love this printer, and it's served me well over the years, but experiences showed me that my favorite printers have actually been the smaller, more consistent ones. For example, the printer that I will gladly be using for this tutorial is in fact the Bambu Lab P1S. If you know anything about 3D printing, you're probably familiar with Bambu Labs taking the market by storm. With actual automatic leveling and stupid high printing speeds, I really have few qualms over the past 6 months I've used this printer. Certainly smaller than the CR10s, what it lacks in size it makes up for in ridiculous consistency. Some of the best prints I've ever had have come from this machine, which took a shocking 15 minutes to set up and run. Literally unheard of. This is probably the point at which I'd say, and Bambu is sponsoring this episode, but they're not. I truly just love this machine. They totally should sponsor the episode, though. I'm just saying. So, my official suggestion for a 3D printer? It's tried, it's tested, and best of all, famously inexpensive for people looking to explore the hobby. What is this mystery printer, you might ask? Say it with me, the Ender 3! Seriously, if you're looking for something just to get you started, I cannot recommend this machine enough. While certainly on the slower side compared to recent printers, the Ender 3 is truly the little machine that could. As long as you're fine with a little more hands-on tinkering, you'll snag a fantastic printer at one of the lowest prices you can find. Micro Centers often have Ender 3s in store for $100, an insane price for a 3D printer.
Filament!
I'm sitting on the floor now because Jamie stole my seat. It's okay, you're perfect in every way. All 3D printers use plastic-based filament as raw material. And the most common and easy-to-use material is PLA. Is this backwards? I can't tell. PLA stands for polylactic acid. I don't know what that means, but I do know PLA is literally the cheapest and most widely available filament for 3D printing use. It's also biodegradable under the right conditions, and doesn't emit toxic fumes like some other plastics. For just starting out, definitely get a kilogram spool of 1.75 PLA. 1.75 is the diameter. This is very important. There are different diameters of filament, and not all of them fit into standard printers. Trust me, the last thing you want to try is to fit something into a hole that has no business fitting into it. A good thing to keep in mind when using PLA is in fact the melting temperature. PLA is a strong plastic, but it is a little more sensitive to temperatures than other plastics like PETG, which is like pop bottles, and ABS, which is like Lego bricks. I've seen PLA parts left inside of cars warp from the heat, so take care not to leave any loose armor pieces out on a sunny summer's day. Whatever printer and filament you end up getting, don't be worried if you don't get a perfect print right away. The hobby of 3D printing is all about tinkering, so don't shy away from problems that show up. There are literally so many videos on YouTube that can help you fix problems. So believe in yourself and don't be afraid to do a little bit of research. You got this.
Computer?
For computer, just get any computer. Any computer will do. My laptop is 9 years old and sounds like a jet engine when it runs Windows Explorer. So, yeah, anything will do. Here's where we come to your first bit of homework. Yes, you're getting homework for this. No, it's not graded, but if no one does it, I will just slowly start slipping into madness thinking about what has happened in my life to bring me to this point. Project myself even though I'm scared of this, showing my face. Just get a printer. Your homework is getting a printer. And some filament. Maybe give me a hug.
Design!
Now onto the really fun stuff. If you're watching this video, chances are you already know exactly what kind of armor you'd like to make. However, we gotta take those inside ideas and make them outside ideas. To do this, we're gonna be looking for STL files of the armor parts that you want. These are the 3D files that you can view on your computer and what your new 3D printer will use to actually make things. There's tons of files out there, many of them free. If you go onto the 405th forums, they have an entire section of free armor and prop files that people have generously made for the community. Make sure that if you use those files, you thank the author for their hard work. Seriously, Mo Sizlak has worked too damn hard not to get some recognition. If you're finding yourself not able to find the exact file you want, there are also quite a few modelers who sell files on Etsy. Instant Creative, Tidal Wave Design, and so many others make just absolutely gorgeous files. And remember, if you can't find something specific, just ask. There are tons of people on the 405th forums who are eager to help, some of whom will even take model requests, like Street Viper. Yes, I know it's weird. I know Street Viper is weird. Do not yell at me. I know it's weird. I like it anyway. So, you've got your files, you've got your printer. Guess we load the files up and just start printing, right? Wrong! Don't you dare! Don't even think about it! If I find out that you printed your armor without checking the sizing, I will drop through your roof and make you sand armor plates for 10 hours! Chances are, unless you had custom files made specifically for you, the files you now have are not scaled to your body. Scaling 3D files is essential, not only to have a good-looking cosplay, but also to have a comfortable one. You can do this by taking some measuring tape and trying to eyeball it, but there's a program that is going to save you so much time. ArmorSmith. It is awesome. It'll tell you exactly what measurements it needs, generate a little mannequin of you, and you can import and slap armor pieces onto it. Think of it as a customization screen for your real-life armor. It's really nice for helping you visualize what you're working on, create your mannequin, import the files into ArmorSmith, slap them on your digital self, adjust the sizing to make it look nice. Word of warning though, if you're the kind of person who spends hours in the customization menu, this is going to be very dangerous for you. Yeah. You thought you'd get away with just one homework assignment? No. Pick out your armor. Yes, I know you were going to do it anyway, but I want to see what y'all are coming up with. Do your measurements, find your files, arrange your armor, and take a screenshot. Post them in the 405th build thread, and you might have a chance of making it into the showcase next week. Really quick, before I let you go, I have 2 more things to add. Firstly, this tutorial is by no means a perfect process. There will always be things that I can do better, ways that I can improve my technique and craft. This series is simply my best effort to showcase my build process as it currently exists. If I make mistakes, let me know. If you have questions, post them in the comments. There's always room to improve and to push ourselves, and growing from your mistakes is part of that. Thank you in advance for your patience and support. I really couldn't do any of this without you. Secondly, as some of you may have seen throughout this video, I have several suit designs loaded up and ready to go specifically for this series. Now, against my better judgment, I'm going to leave it up to fate and all of you to pick out which suit you would like to see me make. Your options are as follows: Mark 7, Mark 6, Mark 5B, Mark 4, Mirage, ODST, and Rakshasa. I'll have the poll attached to the forum post on the 405th, so make sure to head over to there and vote for your favorite. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this journey and frankly encouraging me to make this video. It's been a long time coming. I've been really nervous about doing long form content, but honestly, I'm really excited to see all of the armor that you guys make, and follow, like, subscribe, do all the things. Come back next week Friday. Come back next week Friday with your homework done and ready for part 2. Bye-bye. Adios. I can't, I've done a bunch of bye-bye. Buenas noches. I can't decide on an outro, so I'm just gonna, bye.